First of all, the home of WIPO is in Switzerland, in Geneva. And so very pleased that that's been the case for all of WIPO's history. But in fact, the connection between Switzerland and WIPO goes back more than a century. It starts with something as simple as the Bern Convention, here named after this town, where 150 years ago, all the different creators came together, from Victor Hugo to Charles Dickens to others, right, to see how we could harmonize the international copyright system. And from those beginnings, Switzerland has been associated with IP and international IP. Beyond that, of course, Switzerland is a role model as an innovation ecosystem. Switzerland has been the top 10 in the Global Innovation Index for the top. In fact, Switzerland has been number 1 on the Global Innovation Index for the last 10 years, which is an amazing achievement. And that's because Switzerland has been able to bring all the different elements of innovation together, not just from a legal perspective, but from an innovation perspective as well. So Switzerland's connection to IP is very close, very intimate, and we're very pleased that the home of WIPO is in Switzerland. I think this is one of the most important questions facing all the IP officers now, which is that how do we make IP come alive to people on the ground? For most of the history of the global IP community, we've been quite happy to talk about IP in a very technical way. But that only reaches out to a very small percentage of people in the world. We now need to reach out to the 99% of people out there who need to understand that IP is part of their lives as well. And who are these people? These are the people who are entrepreneurs. These are the researchers in the universities. These are the creators who are the musicians and the artists. These are the owners of the small and medium enterprises. These are the women and the youth who have traditionally been underserved by the IP community. So one of the things that WIPO wants to do, working together with IPI and many other IP officers, is how do we bring IP to the grassroots level? How do we make people understand that IP is part of their lives as well? That IP is an important tool they need to use to bring their ideas to the market. And for governments, IP is a very powerful catalyst for jobs, for investments, for business growth, and for economic and social development. So a lot of the work that WIPO is doing, and we welcome all the IP officers to join us on this journey, is to reimagine IP, not just as an end in itself, but means to an end. How can IP help people to meet their aspirations? How can IP help good ideas become reality so that we can change the world together for the better? Well, intellectual property was not love at first sight, but an arranged marriage. I was for many years a lawyer, and I was practicing international trade law primarily. So I was dealing with free trade agreements and World Trade Organization matters. Ironically, or not ironically, but maybe interestingly for the audience, my first ever overseas assignment was to Switzerland in 1999, when I was part of the team that was negotiating a mutual legal assistance treaty with Switzerland. So I've been here in Bern in 1999 for that. But for most of my life, early professional life, I was an international trade lawyer. Mm-hmm. And then one day, my then boss said, look, there's an opening in the Singapore IP office, and would you like to give it a try? And I thought about it, and I thought, why not give it a shot? Because it'll bring me closer to policy work, and it'll give me a chance to get involved in administration and management. And then I fell in love with IP after that, because I realized that IP is not just about technical legal matters. It's about the brands that we see around us. It's about designs. It's about technology. It's about content. And so once I saw IP as such an important and critical presence in our lives, I begin to see how important it was to not just Singapore but around the world. I fell in love with it. So it was an arranged marriage, but in the end I came to love IP very much. And so here I am today, very much as part of the member of the global IP community. Well, Switzerland's home to me now, first and foremost, because I've been living in Geneva for the last 1 3/4 years, and I'll be staying in Geneva for the next few years at least. So Switzerland is home to me now. But more than that, I think Switzerland, coming from Singapore, Switzerland is to me a symbol of small is beautiful, and what a country can do if it's very clear about its place in the world, right? And it's very clear that it needs to be relevant to the world and connected to the world. So Switzerland for me is a place where just like in Singapore, people are valued, culture is very strong. People are proud of the country, right? And that's something that makes me very comfortable being in Switzerland. Beyond that, of course, Switzerland also to me is the mountains and the lakes, the beauty of the nature, the opportunity to look at things from a fresh perspective, the opportunity to breathe a different air, and the chance, of course, to learn a whole new about a whole new part of the world. And ultimately, again, Switzerland is home, so I'm very pleased and very proud to be part of Switzerland as well now.